And the biggest excuse, I'm still part of the drug dealer fraternity, although I'm 12 years removed. But we as dope boys, ex-dope boys, the biggest excuse that we make is I'm doing this to feed my family. But who the hell feeds your family when you're doing 7 years? Who gonna feed your family when you're doing 1 year? Who's feeding your family during the 12 years you do? So you do it to feed your family, but we know the odds are that we're gonna get incarcerated. By show of hands, who here has either been incarcerated or knows someone that's been incarcerated? It's like 90% of us, 95% of us. Who here has known somebody that has not gone legit, but has won in a drug game without going legit? 2 people, 3 people that have won. But how can you win when any day you could go to prison? Then the win is over. Big Meech was winning. He was up millions. Now he's with 30 years of life. You can't win. The only way to win is to stop. There's no way to win in the corner but to stop. Because any day it's a wrap. And that's just prison, not to mention murders, or robberies, or kidnappings. So all of that woke me up. And so it still boiled down to what was going to be my option. And I learned in a quick, short year that real estate was a real viable option. And that's why we're here today. Is that everyone has a path to not even forget wealthy. I pitch wealth building, and I want everyone to be wealthy, hopefully one day. But outside of just wealth, we all got a path to financial stability, being comfortable, without breaking law. We all got a path. And that's what I want to show you guys today in this seminar, is that the first stage, the first step of it all, the one basic thing we all could do, the easiest business we all could have, is simply owning the roof over our head. It's simple, basic home ownership is the one hustle that we all could have. You're gonna live somewhere anyway. You gotta live somewhere anyway. Who's gonna live somewhere? You're gonna live somewhere anyway. So why not own where you live? And I'm gonna give you the benefits of that. So in order to do this, I'm gonna have to put the mic down, but we're gonna get into our actual seminar portion of this. But I want to introduce you guys to who I am, why I'm doing this. And again, it's just to give back all the knowledge I've been able to intake in the last 12 years. My first 2 years in the real estate, I did really, really well. From wholesaling, owning a 2-family, another 2-family, another single family, flipping properties. I would make literally millions in real estate coming out of the game. And this is not even off drug money, because all the money I had saved up, I ended up blowing trying to figure it all out. There's a learning curve. But what I offer as a mentor, as a teacher, as a coach, is to be able to help you all be able to cut that learning curve. Beat the mistakes that I had to go through in order to learn how to become successful in this particular industry. So I want to get to that today. I think that I can speak loud enough for everyone to hear me. But again, I appreciate all you guys for being here, and now we're going to get into lesson mode. So if you guys have notepads, pens, that will be handy. We're going to talk about a little bit about credit, about basic home ownership, and we're going to also talk about investing. And then we'll have a question and answer session as well. So, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
That was kind of weak for a corner class. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
I want one more. Act like you're excited. Now I'm out here on the block. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's learn some game. Let's get some education. And a big part of this is because we want to build and control our own areas. We want to buy our own blocks back. There are 32 vacant properties on Harlem Ave, this part of Harlem Ave, 800 block. 32 vacant properties out of 40. 32 vacant properties. And then on Delaware as well, there's a whole bunch, and everywhere else you look, that we're not taking advantage of. So when you talk about product, having inventory, having product, we got all the product we need to build wealth within our own communities, if we have the know-how. And outside of that know-how, you have to want to. If you don't want to, if it's not important to you, you're not going to do it. So we'll get to that at this moment. Thank you. One of the biggest things, right, we're talking about owning our own homes, buying properties. One of the biggest things that we have to do off the rip No excuses. We gotta get past all the things we make up in our head of why we can't do it. We know the first thing. My credit is not good. I don't make enough money. I don't this, I don't that. No excuses. What we call is reverse engineering, working backwards. Whatever is not good, we fix. Whatever we don't have, we create. Right? And I'm going to tell you specific tricks or tips that are not widely known that we all could use in order to buy real estate. So it's really important that you got, it's mind frame first. It's all mind frame. It's easy to be done, and I'll tell you the technical sides of doing it, but no point. I give you all the game in the world. But if you don't really want to do it, you're never going to do it. You're going to always block yourself and say there's a reason why you can't do it. So to help us get motivation for these excuses, I want to tell you what's the benefit of owning your own home, right? So the way I teach, and I'll give you both scenarios. So I always teach starting off with a multi-family home first, a 2-family, a duplex. I don't care if it's upstairs, downstairs, side by side, but a 2-unit, 3-unit, or 4-unit first. But even if you're comfortable with starting with a single-family home first, I want to make sure that we are all clear on the benefits to owning real estate. Like, why even get into it, right? So outside of, so let's talk a little bit about that. I actually need a erase rag. I don't have that. Yeah, please. Thank you. So, one of the main benefits we talked about, you're gonna rent, you're gonna rent anyway. You're gonna live somewhere anyway, right? So, just say if you are renting for $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year, correct?
Yep.
So, how much of that money you get back from your rent?
None.
Zero. How much of that goes to your family wealth?
Zero.
That's the first reason right there, because rent equals no value. You get no value whatsoever from renting. You get the space you live in, but there's nothing to carry forward. But what you are doing with that $12,000 a month is you are giving to somebody else who is then paying their mortgage, who is then building their family wealth and creating equity in the property that I'll talk about in a second. And so many people talk about, well, I don't want to get into real estate because what if I lose my job, right? Well, if you're renting, what happens if you lose your job? So you own a property, you lose your job, you might face foreclosure. True, that is a fact. If you're renting a property, you lose your job, you face eviction. Same difference. Many people talk about, well, what if the faucet is leaking? What if the roof is leaking? What if? One, there's warranties you can get, there's insurances you can get to cover those things. But what if your car transmission goes? What do you do? What if you get a flat tire? What if somebody hits you? What if you slip and fall? What if you have a stroke? We could what if this forever. What if it's not an excuse for you not to benefit from homeownership? Statistics show that in our community, the black community, African American community, New African community we call it, in our community, the homeownership rate in 2012 was the same as 1976. The homeownership rate in the black community in 2012 was the same as 1976. Same, no progression. Statistics also show that my mission is to bridge the wealth gap. See, I'm proud to be black. I love being black. This is our team to me, and that's okay. And see, we gotta make disclaimers when we say black unity, black power, black love. Doesn't mean I'm racist. But when the Jewish community or Asian community or any other community has their sets of unity, they don't make no disclaimers. They just unify. And so when bridging, so I look at this is our team, right? And right now, we've been in America for 396 years, African people. And the score is 396 them, us 0. We down. 0-396. I don't like losing. That's why I do this. I could do me and get my bread and be straight. But what about the rest of us? What about my team? How am I going to score 40 points every game, go to the All-Star game, when my team is 0-396? What's the point of that? So I get everybody else trained up so we could win. We've been in last place in everything. Statistics show that the typical white family has a family net worth 13 times the net worth of a black family. 13 times the net worth of our families. Statistics also show that in our black families, half of black families are run or led by a single mom, by a single woman. And half of those women raise their children in poverty. That's the stats. Why are they raising them in poverty? Because the men are either being irresponsible or the men are locked up. That's why. Now, the good news to all that, before we get put our heads down, lift them up, the good news of that is that this is not our fault. We didn't put ourselves in this situation. We didn't put ourselves in this situation, right? Correct? But it is on us to deal with it, which is why you all are here. So we can hold our heads high and understand that we're not even victims anymore. That's behind us. But we're survivors. We survivors of 246 years of slavery. We survivors of unequal laws and redlining our communities, putting us in ghettos. We survivors of that. That's also the passion behind which I do what I do. So we talk about getting into real estate and the benefits of it. When you own your home and you get a mortgage on a property, right? Just say you get it financed. The great part about it, instead of paying rent where you get no value as you pay down that mortgage, you say you get a loan for $100,000. Every mortgage payment you make, it now chips away at this loan, right? So now you owe the bank $100,000, but every payment you make is not going nowhere now; it's going somewhere. And see, the great part about paying down the loan is that you create equity, you create value in the house. So we'll keep our two-family here. I just want to explain that to you. So equity in a property is the value of, it's a difference from what you owe and what the house is worth, right? So if this house is worth, just say it's worth 100, right? K means 1,000 when you see that, 100K. So this house is worth 100,000. But now, don't get it messed up. Your first 20 years of your mortgage, you're not paying much principal, paying mostly interest. That is true. But you do still chip away at this number. So you can always add extra mortgage payments, etc. But I'd rather be getting 1,000 off of this than paying 12,000 and getting nothing from it. So you at least chip away at this number. So after 5 years, maybe now this number is 92,000 what you owe, right? So you start off owing 100, now you owe 92,000. You've now created $8,000 in equity, in value in your property. That's family net worth. That's value you can tap into later. That's why we own, is to create value. It's all about family wealth. So now, the other thing is that, make sure you hold your books. The other thing when you purchase a property is that over time, properties appreciate in value, right? So I want to say this 8,000 is equity, right? That's equity from a pay down, that 8,000. But just over time, especially when we all can go buy up in our own neighborhoods and bring the whole value up because properties aren't vacant, they're not blighted, there's not vandalism, you now have what's called appreciation. Appreciation of property is your property going up in value over time. So now you might have bought this property for $100,000, you paid it down over the next 3 years and created $8,000 in equity just from paying it down, but the property also has went up in value another 20 grand, so now instead of being worth 100, just because of appreciation, it's now worth 120. So now it's worth 120. You created equity by paying down 8. So now you have 28,000, right? Because you started at 100. So you got this 8,000 plus the gain of appreciation for 20. So now you've gained appreciation for 20,000. That's $28,000 of family wealth, of value, as opposed to renting and gaining what?
0.
Right. So why this can happen with a single family or a duplex or a triplex, right? The other great part, and why I say, and I recommend for us to always go into it and purchasing 2 families or 3 family homes, is because outside of the equity, outside the appreciation, there's also tax advantages too for closing on a house. Your interest payments can be tax write-offs, your closing costs tax write-offs, right? I'm not an accountant, I gotta make a disclaimer, but I know a little something. So those are potential write-offs for you. That's another benefit. But when you have a multi-family house, you now live in one of the units and you're getting rent from another unit. So now not only are you gaining appreciation, paying down a mortgage, gaining equity, you got a little bit of write-offs, you now are getting rental income. So if your mortgage is $1,200 a month, and I'll be honest, Baltimore, we have the right opportunity. I'm from Jersey. The average property is like 200, 300,000 just for a regular old house. Here, you got the luxury of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 properties. The mortgage on a $70,000 home is like $600 a month. You renting for $800, $900 a month. The mortgage on a $70,000 house with taxes, insurance, and everything included might be $800 on his property. There's no reason not to own. I'm gonna tell you how we can do it. But now, if your mortgage is $1,200 a month, just say, right? Say you got a $100,000 house, and your taxes and insurance, and taxes are low here, which is great too. But your taxes, your mortgage, taxes, and insurance, say it's $1,200 a month. And I want to say with this another term. Everybody can write this down. P-I-T-I, pity. The P stands for principal, the principal of your loan. The I stands for interest, the interest on your loan. So both these are basically your loan payment, pity. Principal and interest on your loan. You pay back to the bank. The T is taxes, and the other I is insurance. So when you hear that term pity, it's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That makes up your complete payment. So if your payment is $1,200 a month, but either you're renting this out for $800 a month, now you're responsible just for $400 a month. So now you're living for $400 a month. So that means the rent you have been paying, you now can save a large portion of that. So now you're saving on the money you've just been renting. You're gaining appreciation in the property over time, and you are gaining equity by paying down your mortgage. Well, now you've got a tenant helping you pay down your mortgage. Another benefit to write down is when you own a 2 or 3 or 4 family, the rental units, any maintenance done on a rental unit is all tax deductible. So not on your primary side where you live, but the maintenance on any of your rental units are tax deductible as well. And there's depreciation from your rent as well. So many of you say, well, Jay, that sounds good, but I don't have the credit or the money to be able to purchase one of these properties. I just don't got it like that. And so remember, we always identify the problems and then we work backwards, we reverse engineer for the solutions. No different than anything. We are problem, that's a great part about coming from where we come from. We are resilient, we're problem solvers. We ain't got no Kool-Aid, we put sugar and water. We ain't got no pancakes, we put toast and butter and syrup on it. We gonna make a way. We gotta do the same thing when it comes to the larger things in life as well. So, when you're applying for one of these properties, in most cases you get an FHA loan or a conventional loan, right? FHA is a government-backed loan with 3.5% down, 3.5% down. That means for every $100,000, for a $100,000 house, that is a $3,500 down payment. So if you want to buy a house that costs $100,000 in Baltimore, it means you need to save up $3,500. This is what we should be doing with our income tax refunds. This. Not going to the club, not balling out, buying new Louboutins, buying a bag, giving it back to them. Have a plan for your income tax refunds. You could buy a $100,000 house in Baltimore is a pretty good house for $3,500 down. That you will get a multi-family, live in one side, rent the other out, get tax breaks and potential appreciation. And if you follow what I teach, you won't be buying a house for $100,000. It's only worth $100,000. You're gonna buy a house for $100,000. That's instant equity when you buy it. It's gonna be worth $120, $130 when you buy it. So the day you buy it for $100, it's already worth $130. You already got wealth right there. So even if this was 5%, so if you don't go FHA, there's other programs that have 5% down. 5% down is only $5,000 on a $100,000 house. Even if you don't have $5,000, if you ain't got 2 dimes right now, this is your goal. So when your kid comes to you for high school saying, Daddy, Mommy, I want new J's for $200, no, your J's is going here. You might have to get these Skippies real quick. Because we got family wealth to build. And that's the other part, is that as a people, we not prioritizing this part. And I get it. See, like, I grew up poor, so I know. And Jay-Z said it best. When you grew up with holes in your Zapatos and your shoes, you celebrate the minute when you have enough. So, because we grow up sometimes struggling, soon we get some bread, it's like, turn up, buy. Soon we get some bread, we want to turn up and buy. Because we not thinking big picture. Then we mad when we broke. Then we mad when they come in, they buy all of this and move us out. Yo, they keep coming to our community, you gentrifying us, yo. Why ain't you buy it up then? Because you was too busy buying martinis after work. I said to one of my videographers, he was actually recording my academy lessons, and one of the promo videos I said is that for all those who have habits, it could be good habits, bad habits, I don't care, I don't judge, but even for my weed smokers, if you spend $20 a day on a bag of weed, that's $600 a month. That's $7,200 a year. $20 a day on a bag of weed is $600 a month, $7,200 for a whole year. That's your crib. You smoked your crib up. And for those who don't smoke weed, but you like the 2 drinks after work though, you want to go to the Fridays, you like to get the little appetizers and the happy hour. You know what kills us? I'm about to raise all this in a second. I'm going to say what kills us. I hope y'all got this. This is the word I think hurts our community the most. This is one of the words that hurts our community the most right here. How many letters is it? I think it's 4. Yeah, it's 4 letters. We kill ourselves with this. It's only $5. It's only $3. It's only $20. We the most onlyest people in the world. We the poorest in America, but it's only $5 adds up. Only $20 adds up. I'm gonna tell you the story. I usually, I wear some nice suits. And I get manicures. I like to be clean. I went to my manicurist, Korean lady, and I got my manicure with my suit jacket on. And she had some tape on the front that put glue on my suit. So I brought it to her and said, yo, you ruined my suit. I gotta get it dry cleaned now. I said, look, I'm gonna take it to the cleaners, I'm gonna bring you the bill. She said, no. I want the cleaners too. You get it to me, I'll clean it. I said, it's only like $9. So I'll take it to my cleaners, just give me $9. No, it's cheaper for me if I take it to my cleaners. She went through the effort, extra, and it wasn't even in the same town, it was like 40 minutes away. She went through the extra effort to clean my suit at her cleaners to save her $7? Because it's not only to them. They counting everything. Another, I swear, true story. My dry cleaners, who I was gonna take my suit to, he just ruined one of my shirts. It was a $135 shirt. I said, look, just give me the $135. You know what he said? No. I'm gonna go to eBay. They got that search on eBay. He took 2 weeks to search eBay and Amazon to try to find a cheaper shirt. I've been going in for like 3 years. He done made racks off me. And opposed to just peeling off, I got it. Every dollar counts when you're talking about your goal is family wealth. See, if your goal is only looking good, it don't matter. If your goal is living for the moment, it don't matter. If your goal is family wealth, it matters. And it gotta start mattering to us. All those dollars add up. Especially when you got a goal. But when you ain't got no goals, you don't have no financial goals, you're bound to do anything with your bread. So, and I want to give you guys this. So, in action steps for the homeowners. We'll have some people here at the end you can speak to in regards to your process. Where this starts, where you getting your first home, is taking a step into getting pre-qualified or pre-approved for a mortgage. This tells you what's missing. Because right, it's like going to a doctor. You're like, something, my elbow hurts. I don't know what it is. You don't go to a doctor and say, my elbow hurts, give me a cast. We want to say, I can't buy a house because of this. How do you know? Who licensed you to be the mortgage person? How do you know what you could do? I can't get a house, my credit's bad. You think your credit's bad because it's a 580, but you don't know they qualify people at a 580. You telling the doctor, that was on purpose. You telling the doctor, he went that way. You telling the doctor, you diagnosing yourself. Stop diagnosing ourselves. I'm telling you where to go. You can go to a realtor, but they're not going to qualify you. But you go to a realtor to point you in the direction of a mortgage broker. If you want to figure out where you stand in regards to home ownership, you go to a mortgage broker or mortgage banker. Now, here's a very important part of my personal story. Remember when I told you that I went in to see that lawyer after my second charge? And he said, you're looking at 3 years for this case. And because of that 3 years, I went back to go hustling and save up for the case. I never went to another attorney for a second opinion. I took the word of this idiot who told me I was looking at 3 years. But when I went down to Eastern Correctional Institution with my jail time, and I went to New Jersey to see the prosecutor, they offered me 180 days for that same case in the county. So I had quit selling drugs. I got my khakis and my button up. I was ready to get a temp job. But I went to go start selling drugs again because this lawyer told me I was looking at 3 years. I never got a second opinion, and I ran with that one thing. When the reality I was only looking at 180 days. I took that. I went to sleep for 180 days. So what that's relevant is that if you go into a mortgage banker or mortgage broker and they don't tell you what you want to hear or something doesn't feel right, take the liberty of going to see a second opinion and a third opinion. Don't get frustrated and discouraged by the first person that tells you you can't do something. Because what your response to them should be, how do I do it? If I can't do it now, how do I do it? Because there's a route, there's a path to all of this. So if you don't have strong credit now, there's a path to building strong credit. I'm going to give you one simple tool that everyone can do. If you have no credit, or if you have weak credit, I'm going to give everyone a credit building tip that you all can follow. All right. This is the easy one right here. I'm going to explain it in detail. Because all this boils down to getting qualified, you're going to need a down payment, typically 3.5% to 5% to get qualified. You're going to need a credit score, probably about at least a 580, sometimes down on 560. We don't know. Programs change all the time. Banks can say one day, down on 520, one day 620, whatever it is. But you won't know until you go see a mortgage broker and get qualified. So, and then you're going to need, in cases of buying these homes, you'll need some kind of, outside your down payment, your closing costs. The great part about Baltimore as well, the city is giving $10,000 grants towards your closing costs and your down payment. So now you don't even got to save the $3,500. The city's giving you $10,000 grants for your closing costs, which are your fees associated with buying the property, and for your down payment. That excuse is done now for y'all that are here. So the other part, we're going to talk about credit in a second, and then is your debt to income ratio, which means the ratio between how much you make and how much you owe, right? The bank doesn't want you to owe too much money to creditors, car loans, credit cards, versus what you make. But here's another benefit to that. So I'm going to write all right, so write credit here so we don't forget. Y'all remind me, I want to get your credit. But before that, I want to talk about a little bit more about qualifying. All right, so in qualifying, right, if you don't make a lot, this is the other great part. So for those who may have smaller jobs, right, you don't make a lot of money, you're not making a bunch of money, right, that's okay. Here's some benefits for us that we don't use, that I see used all the time in qualifying. So, all right, so down payment, we got grants, right? We got that covered now. Either you save up, you stop being only, sacrifice discipline. You gotta, I'm telling you, especially when it comes to our kids, we don't know how to say no to our kids. You don't need all them games, all that PlayStation and iPhone. You don't need all of that. What we need is family wealth. What we need is stop paying this other man our rent money, and I want to be able to leave you something one day. That's what we need. Too many luxuries, too much polo, too much fake Gucci belts. We don't need that. We gotta prioritize this. So, outside of down payment is your income qualifying ratio, right? So they call it a debt to income ratio, DTI. So another term you guys can be familiar with, a DTI ratio. So we're talking about income. Outside of the money you make, I'm gonna erase these in a second. I'm gonna give you some easy things we all could do to qualify for home ownership. Easy. The first is future rental credit. If you're buying a 2-family, 3-family, 4-family house, anything, residential real estate is another point. Residential real estate is anything 1 to 4 units. That's residential. Anything more than 4 units considered commercial. That's a whole nother corner class. But in residential real estate, 1 to 4 units, anything 2 units and 3 units, 4 units, the bank will give you credit for the future rental income you'll be receiving. So say you work at Burger King only getting $20,000 a year, but you got a 2-family house or a 3-family, 4-family. That $800, the bank will give you a 90% credit for the future rent you're getting. So if you make $20,000 a year, but you're getting $800 a month from the unit you're looking at buying, the private looking at buying, 100 times 12 is $9,600, right? So just say $10,000, right? The bank will give you 90% credit towards that, of that $10,000. So that means another $9,000 a year they'll add to your income to qualify you. So now instead of making $20,000 a year, you're making $29,000 in their eyes. All from future rental income. That's why I say I like 2, 3, or 4 units. So now, if you've got a 4-unit property and you're getting the same $9,000 a year times the other 3 units, right? You're living in one, you don't get credit for that. But the other 3 units, now 9 times 3 is $27,000. So now you're working at Burger King You're working at Burger King, Walmart, McDonald's, Foot Locker, wherever. But now the bank is looking at you and making $47,000 a year. So now you got $47,000 a year to qualify for that 4-family property, on top of the city grants for your down payment. Future rental income credits will help you qualify for a property, even if you have a job that doesn't make that much money. Second, we don't use, especially in our community, is co-borrowers. Majority of these loans, 99% of them, will allow you to have multiple co-borrowers on one loan. Meaning you and your sister, you and your mans, you and your homegirl, instead of you guys going and being roommates on a rental, go be roommates on a property. You could have 5 people on a loan. You know how we as black people like to laugh at the Mexicans or the Spanish people for piling into a house? Well, they pile into a mortgage too. And owning the property, being disciplined. And you don't gotta be family to do it. You and Brock don't even know each other. Well, you know what, you trying to buy something? You trying to buy something? Alright, you clean? Alright, cool, let's go. You can have multiple people, so if you make 15,000, she made 10, you made 20, all of that can go into you guys being on the mortgage together and owning the property. And another big perk of that, or third, is vouchers. Section 8 vouchers can be used towards a mortgage. VA vouchers, disability vouchers, pensions. They all could be used towards qualifying you for a mortgage. So now you might have grandma that got a disability voucher bringing in $600 a month. You got a job at Burger King making $20,000 a month. Somebody else getting child support or whatever else, all y'all on the loan, or you got a 800, 400, whatever, Section 8, and y'all going together on a property. It don't mean forever, ever, but that's one strategic step towards building family wealth and building family equity. That you can utilize it. And that's not to mention that, so let's look like this. Now if you got a 4-family house, you and your family, 3 of y'all, somebody in Section 8, somebody got a job, somebody who knows what. 3 of y'all go to a 3-bedroom house, y'all live in 1 unit, but you're buying a 4-unit property, so now y'all renting the other 3 units out, so now you can utilize the future rental incomes of 1 unit, utilize co-borrowers to help you qualify, utilize the vouchers if anybody has them, and utilizing the $10,000 city grant for your down payment. That's 100% financing. And easy ways to qualify. And you got this property now bringing you in positive cash flow. So now you got 1,000 from this unit, 1,000, 1,000. Y'all bought this for say 150. Your mortgage is $1,500 a month. So you got 3,000 coming in, your mortgage is $1,500 a month. So that means you pay your mortgage at $1,500, and you got $1,500 profit every month from the cash flow. So you're making money from living with 100% financing coming in together while you're paying down a mortgage, creating equity, and you bought it right with instant equity. All at our fingertips. It's not like this is real stuff, it's real facts. We're just not doing it, we're not applying ourselves. We're not prioritizing it. Everything else seems to matter a little more, and that's our fault. Everybody got this? Yeah. All right, cool. A renovation loan real quick, and then we're going to talk about credit. And then I'm going to get into some investor stuff, and then we'll get question and answers, all right? Don't want me to speed it up, or y'all good? All right, you cool. I'll talk forever. I just want to make sure y'all good. All right. So there's a program called FHA 203K. This program allows you to purchase a property, 1 to 4 units, but the bank will also lend you the renovation money. So not only you get the 3.5% down payment, still 3.5%, but not just owning the property, they'll also give you the money to fix the property up to your standard. So this program right here, same thing, same qualifying, same co-borrowers, same grants, same future rents. You get all those things. The future rent, maybe not because it's not rented yet, but you get all those things, and you get the renovation costs for a property that needs renovations. So you only got to run from those properties. And that's how you can buy a property and have value already in it because you bought it and you renovated it. And you bought it at a low discount. I'm going to touch this in the investor side, but I want to just give everyone a perspective on how you evaluate a property and know if it makes sense, etc. All right? Very simple. There's 3 components to from an investor or home buyer, seeing if you're buying a valuable property. The property already has equity in it. First component is your purchase price. The second component is your repair costs. And your third is what we call ARV, after repair value. So that's how it looks. When you're looking for a property, obviously you have a purchase price, right? They're going to ask you, I'm asking you $100,000 for my house. Everything is negotiable. My saying is that if you don't insult the other person, it's not a good negotiation. So if someone's offering they want $100,000 for the house, you can offer them 80, you can offer them 70, whatever it is. But let's just say right now, you agree on whatever your purchase price is. For this instance, we'll say 70 grand. So you got 70 grand purchase price. To know if the house has good value in it, you want to bring a contractor there, preferably a licensed contractor, someone who really knows what they're doing, and you want to find out what are your repair costs. Even for all these vacant houses, they all have a repair cost. Right now it's about $105,000 per house, but they all have a repair cost, depending on the damage of the house. So you find out what your repair cost is for the property, and to say that number right now for this property is say 30. All right, so you know that you're purchasing for 70, your repairs are 30, you're in it for 100. So now the magical number is, what's my after repair value? Once it's repaired, right? So non-repaired, it may be worth 70. Or maybe non-repaired is even worth more, but you're buying it for less, right? So maybe they're asking 70, maybe it's worth 70, non-repaired. But we're going to negotiate to say, you know what? This is a bando, it's a bunch of bandos, I'm not paying you 70 for it, I'm going to pay you 50. So now you're in it for 80 now instead of 100. You're still going to find out what's my after repair value. Once it's all fixed up, what is the value of the property? And a realtor can help you find that out. Or an appraiser. Appraiser probably will charge you. A realtor would do it for free with something called pulling comps for you. Comps is a short term for comparable homes. I'll explain it to you. So we say comps for comparable homes, and what that is that a realtor will look at 3 similar homes. They have to be similar. So that means same bedroom count, bathroom count, same style. If it's a row house, it's a row house. You can't compare a row house to a non-row. They gotta be similar. So what comps are is the average sales price of 3 similar homes in your area. And particularly, it's within 1 square mile. I'm going to write that out for you. So comps equal the average sales price, don't pray, of 3 comparable homes. It's a 1 square mile, and so comps equal, it's the average sales price of 3 comparable homes within 1 square mile that have sold within the last 6 months. That's how you find out the value of any rehab property. You say, I'm going to put in a new bathroom, a new kitchen, I'm going to put in wood floors, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, right? These are going to be my repairs. So based on those repairs, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, how much will my house be worth? So they're going to find you the average sales price, not what somebody has it on the market for. I hate that. I say sales like 1,000,000 times, and you go, well, Mr. John got his on the market for 400. I don't care. It's the average sales price, what has sold within the last 6 months within 1 square mile. That tells you the value of any home in America. Those are your comps, comparable homes. So our realtor comes back, they give us 3 homes. Like here's a great point for you. See that end property right there? That property that is semi-detached because there's no property on the right side of it, all right? That property is not the same as the one next to it. The one next to it has properties on both sides. That's a semi-row. That's a full row. They're not the same. So for that end property, you have to find other end properties that sold. Because a property with no property, a semi-detached, is different than a fully attached. So all that makes a difference. A garage and not a garage is different. All those make a difference. So our realtor comes back and says, I found 3 homes. The average sales price of them is $120. One sold for $100, one sold for $130, one sold for $120. We average it up, it's $120. So now we know our ARV, our after repair value, is $120. So we're in this property for how much?
80.
We're in it for 80. And we know our after repair value is what?
20.
So how much equity do we have buying the property? 40. So this is how you go buy a property with instant equity. You just do the math first. Do your due diligence and your research first. So now we know we're in it for 80. It's worth 120. So the day we buy it, our family value has just went up 40 grand. And this is the start of how we build wealth. Is 40 grand make you rich? Heck no. Is 40 grand better than renting? Hell yeah. This is where we start. And see, I'm going to give you a couple other tips real quick. I'm going to get into credit. The other reason why I preach, teach, and suggest that we start with multifamily homes, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, is because when you buy these homes, in order to get 3.5% down, it has to be owner occupied, right? So they call it owner occ. It's another term for you. Owner occ equals 3.5% down, right? So you hear that term, owner occupied, owner occ. You hear that term. And see, we got these little terms like pre-qualified, ARV, owner occ. All that makes you just sound smart when you go into a mortgage company. And they respect you a little bit more. So when you go in owner occ 3.5% down, but you go into a 2 or 4 unit, here's the great part. See, when banks qualify you, if you want to buy a single unit property and you want to go into your next property, because I'm talking about building wealth. One property is not wealth. It's a start. But if you went from a single family and now you want to buy a 2-family, even if you're going to move this 2-family, it's much harder to convince the bank you're really going to live there. They're going to think you're playing games. And so if you're living from a 1 unit, give them a door. If you go from a 1 unit to a 2, it's much harder to convince an underwriter, which is only a person behind a desk saying, I believe you or not, that you're really going to live there and not just trying to, because remember, if you buy this as an investor, it's going to be 20% down all day. as an investor. So obviously, everybody's trying to take advantage of the 3.5% down. So the bank is being protective of that, you playing games. So in order to mitigate that ahead of time, what we do is we reverse it.
Hugs.
You buy the 2-unit first, or the 3 or 4-unit first. It's much easier to convince a bank that you're moving from a 2-unit, a 3-unit, or a 4-unit. Now you're going to live in your single family, right? So we went and bought this 2-unit. Remember we bought it? We had 40 grand equity. We had some cash flow there from the other rental unit. We're living for free, living for cheap. But now, it could have been a rehab loan, could have not. We don't know. But we bought this 2-unit, and now a year later, 18 months later, whatever, we say, you know what? Let's rent this whole thing out, both units, and now let's go into the single family. And so now you can buy this single family, same qualifying, co-borrowers, city grants, future rent, well, no future rent here. But any options you have, but you can use the rents from here though to help you qualify as well. So now you're gonna leave your 2-family, 3-family, 4-family, and you're gonna go into your single family. So now you go into this, it could be FHA 203K. You do a rehab on your single family, you go live here, but now you're renting out this unit, you buy this the smart way, now you got another 40K in equity here, plus your rental income there, so now you got 2 rents coming in, you're living for free in your single family, you got 40K in equity in this property, now you bought this with 40K equity in it. So now you got 80K of family wealth starting to build while you got cash flow coming in, plus tax write-offs for both these rental units. Excuse me. So this is why we recommend our multifamily first, then we go into our single family. And now, if you want to sell this single family at some point, whether it's a quick flip or a longer flip, you could sell your single family. Oh, excuse me, we'll keep it. So, we got a single family, made the 40K, and then we went into another multifamily. Because remember, you're renting this out, you bought this as a single family on the rock, 3.5% down, but now you sold it. Can't live there, gotta live somewhere, but you're already renting this out. So now you go back and buy another multifamily and play the game again. And keep building wealth. Recycle, repeat. Alright, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about credit for our homeowners. Then, if you guys want to bear with me, we can talk about investor information as well.